All right, this is the second part of the Ackerman steering model. So we're going to pick up where we left off. This is, once again, our completed model. Right now we should have the front main beam, the back main beam, both leaf springs, top and bottom, and the back cross beam. So in this next video, we're going to start out by making these steering knuckles down here. Then we'll make the tie rod that connects them. So we can get a good view of everything. There we go. We've got the tie rod back there. We'll get both wheels and we'll make a seat. So once again, go ahead and pull up your model. We're going to go ahead and start with the steering knuckle. So I'm going to right click and start a new component. We're going to title this steering knuckle. That activates the component. We're going to go ahead and instead of trying to create this in place where it's going to go, I'm just going to go ahead and turn off the visibility of everything else. We'll turn on our origin, and let's go ahead and make this at the component origin plane, and then we'll joint it into place on our bigger model when we get there. So first thing we'll do is create a sketch on that top facing plane. We're going to do 2 circles. Oops, am I in millimeters or inches? I'm in inches, okay. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to make a 0.5 diameter circle. And then we're also going to make a 0.625. So this will just be our pipe that our steering knuckle is made out of, those 2. Go ahead and finish that sketch. We'll go ahead and extrude this, start the extrude command, and we'll go up 5 inches, and we'll make that the new body. Okay, we're going to do another sketch. We'll come over here, we'll select this right plane, and that's going to be right through the center of our sketch. We'll do a construction line. We'll come up from the bottom. We'll come up halfway, 2.5 inches. Turn off the construction line, and we'll start a circle right here. And this will be 0.375. Oh, that's 75. So 0.375. For some reason, my decimal place is not coming in. 0.3. Okay, no, it's just being difficult. 0.375. Okay, so sorry. My computer is not playing nice. So I'm going to hit escape to get out of that. I'm going to create a circle right there. I'm going to come out. And I'm trying to type in 0.375. And for some reason on my keyboard that's not working. 0.375. It's not having it. What is wrong with my keyboard? Okay, we'll escape out of that again. We'll zoom in, draw our circle. Man, it's going to take me forever to get close enough. Go ahead and type that in. There you go. Wow. I have no idea why my keyboard was spazzing out, but finally got the 0.375. So we'll finish that sketch. We're going to extrude this 4 inches. We don't want to cut a hole in there. We want to join it together, but we do realize that we're starting in the center, so we'll have to come up here in a second and clean that out. Okay, so 4 inches, and we'll join that. We'll come back in, we'll turn on this top sketch again, I guess it's the bottom sketch, doesn't matter where we do it. And I'm going to extrude again. I'm going to grab this whole circle right here, and I'm going to extrude that downwards like that. I'm going to go all the way through, distance through all, and that's going to clean up that center section. Make sure we're on the cut. We'll say OK. So now instead of having that on the inside, we've cleaned it up. So there's our steering knuckle that the kingpin is going to go through. That's where our axle is going to go. So now I want another plane right here in the middle. So I'm going to construct an offset plane from the bottom here that comes up 2.5. Man. Okay, 2.5. So that plane is right in the middle. And this is where we're going to do all of our Ackerman geometry sketching. So we'll come into here. I'm going to turn on the back cross beam. It's way back there. And we'll project that beam. I just need the center of it. So that's the top face. That'll work. Say OK. We'll turn back off the beam. And I need to find the center of this beam. So the quickest way to do that is to draw a diagonal line from one corner over to the other corner. And the center of that rectangle is the midpoint of that diagonal line. So that's why you should always pay attention to geometry class. So I'm going to come along here until I hit that midpoint. I'm going to put a point right there. And that's the midpoint of that back beam. And that's our back axle. And that's where the Ackerman steering needs to go through. So I'm going to draw a line from the midpoint of that back axle all the way up here. You know what? I'm ahead of the game. Let me go ahead and finish that sketch. Let me escape out of that line. So sorry. This steering knuckle still is just sitting here out in the middle of nowhere. I need to put it in its proper place on my model. So I'm going to come back here. And I'm going to come up to activate my main model. We'll turn off that sketch. I'm going to turn on the top and bottom leaf spring. And I want this steering knuckle to be located over here on the leaf spring. So we'll go ahead and do a joint command. I want this top center. I'll hold on Control and grab that joint origin. We'll back out, kind of zoom back in here. And then I want the bottom side of that facing downward. So I'm going to go ahead and orbit and grab, there we go, hold down Control and grab the bottom of that one. So it should put it in there, and we want this to be able to rotate. So I'll grab the revolute. And we'll say OK. So now that my steering knuckle is in the right spot, now I can come back over here to the steering knuckle. I can come back over here to that sketch where I've got the drawing, and all of these things. We'll just put them in there just for a second. Ooh, that projection's in the wrong spot now. Good thing I double checked. So we'll go ahead and edit the sketch. Oh, no, I put it in the right spot. Oh, but it still has a steering knuckle over here. Okay. So let me finish that sketch. So let's go ahead. We'll delete that sketch and we'll do a new one. Okay, so I've got my steering knuckle in the correct place. I'm actually inside the steering knuckle folder. So let me go ahead. I've got this activated. Let me start a new sketch on this construction plane that I built right there halfway. Now that the steering knuckle is over here, now I'm going to go ahead and project this back beam in. Get that rectangle, say OK. Going to turn off the other beams so they're not in the way. And same thing again with the midpoint of that diagonal. Also do a construction line from one corner to the other corner. I'm gonna put a point. I'm gonna just kind of drag down until I'm at the midpoint. Okay. Oops. Create a point. There we go. Go back to my line tool. I'm going to go from the midpoint of that back beam. Now I can come out here. I'm going to go to the center of the kingpin. This is how the Ackerman geometry. And it just has that box. Should be an X if it snaps to it. Let me just put it out here in the middle of nowhere. Come back in here to project. I'm going to project that circle into my sketch. And now if I bring this over here, oh, okay. So that line is at the center of that circle. I also want this. I'm going to highlight it or select it, turn it into a construction line. So now I've got a line going from the middle of what is going to be our kingpin. That's the bolt that goes through there and allows us to pivot from the center of there all the way back to the center of our back axle. And that's the this line is where the pivot for our steering knuckle needs to lie. So now I can come in. I'm still on this midplane. I'm going to project. I've already got the outside of that. I want the inside. I want this line right here. So I'm selecting, and it's selecting the leaf spring rather than the steering knuckle. So I'm going to left click and I'm on the body selection. Actually, we go to the specified entities. I'm going to left click and hold, and it's going to bring up all my options. And that's the face that I want, that top face of the steering knuckle. I want that outside line right there. So now I can go ahead, start sketching this. We'll come off the top of that line. We'll come up. Let's say 5 inches. Okay. Want to make sure that that is vertical. So 5 inches. I'll come over enough to get past that line. I'll come down. We'll come back over. And we'll touch back down on here. Same thing, I want to make sure that that's vertical. So let's go ahead and put some constraints in here. This one's already vertical. I want that one to be vertical. Oh, it's already got the perpendicular, so it already is vertical. I want to make sure that that's touching right there. So I'm just going to make sure that, oops. I need to click out of here. Coincident constraint, I want that point to be on that circle. Okay. I think we're good. This should be even. So let me see if I can make these. How can I get this to be in the middle? Get out of the coincident constraint. If I slide this over, Oh, I can say, nope, not horizontal with each other. Escape out of that, equal. Their points. Okay, so I will just draw a construction line between those two, and then I will make that construction line horizontal. So now they'll be the same height. And now if I put this distance, we'll just go ahead and say, how wide do we want that to be? It's 0.57 now. We'll say 0.5. There you go. That should keep it centered. That's 0.5. We'll make this 0.5 thick as well. And then we want our hole where the tight rod attaches to be along this line. So I want to put my hole right here. So I'm going to draw another. I'm already on a construction line. Let me come down halfway so that I'm on the midpoint of this line. And we'll go to where it intersects right there. And then at those points right there, when those things intersect, we'll put a point. And then now we can kind of just change this distance. Oops. Slide this over. And put a circle in there. Our hole is 0.25. And then I just need a good distance here so I'm not too close. So put a distance on this line, say 1.25. Maybe 1.5. Make sure we got enough room there. This circle I'm going to need to extrude, so I have to select this, make it a normal line, not a construction line. That should be good. When I hover over this, it turns blue, so that's a good profile for me to extrude. So we'll finish that sketch. When I extrude this, I'm making one steering knuckle. I'm just going to flip it over to the other side and kind of mirror it. So I want this to be perfectly symmetric about that axis. So when I extrude this, we're going to go ahead and go symmetric through both sides. And we'll say that that whole distance is just 0.125. And there we go. So that right there is our steering knuckle. So I'm happy with that, I think. We'll go ahead and turn off the origin. It looks good. Let letter A for appearance. Let's go with some more paint. Let's go red. Okay. So I've got one steering knuckle. I'm going to come up here to my main sketch. And how do I want to do this? Let me see if I can just... I want another one of these, but I want it mirrored. So let's see if we'll do that. We'll do the whole component. Steering knuckle, mirror plane. That one right there. And that looks pretty good. Go ahead and say OK. So steering knuckle mirror. Okay, so I just grabbed it and moved it. It's not jointed in. So let me go ahead and hit revert. This is in the exact correct place, so I can do an as-built joint. And we'll just do the revolve. This component and this component. Those are the two that I want. Revolute. Snap point for the joint origin. We'll go right there in the center. We'll see. That looks good. Okay. We'll hit OK. So now if I grab this, it just spins, and this is pointing inward. If I grab this one, it spins as well. Okay, so we'll go back and hit revert. Put both of those back in. So now I'm going to do a tie bar across the bottom of these. We'll try to make this easy as possible. New component. Tie rod. I've always called it a tie rod. Ours is going to be a flat bar though. So I'm going to hit create a sketch. I don't want to sketch on the underside of that steering knuckle. So let me come around to the bottom side and see if it'll let me select that face. I think I'm on there. Let me come up and look at my sketch. Yeah, I can see this black line right here. That's my sketch plane, and it's coming right off the bottom of the tie bar, which is what we want. So let me back out. We'll come around and look at this from the bottom of the rover, looking at the bottom side, and I'm coming right off of these two things. So I'm going to project that piece in. So I've got all that geometry. I'm going to project that piece in. So I've got all those things. I can turn off the steering knuckles now. I should be able to see purple lines where I projected it. Maybe I didn't hit OK or something. Let me try that one more time. Usually when you project, the lines come in as purple. Oh, that one certainly did it. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So that side came in, just not this side. Project that in and say OK. There we go. Okay, so now I've just got those lines. So basically I just need a rectangle to connect these two things. I'm going to start with a construction line that goes center to center. We'll get rid of the construction line, and we'll do a let me create a point again at the center. It's on that line at the center of the beam, and we'll do a center point rectangle. So we can start right here in the center. And then I know it's going to be symmetric, so I'm just going to come out here until I think it looks nice. Put a corner there, and I can go ahead and then put dimensions on this so it's something normal that we can cut. So 44.6, we'll make that 45. Make it 44. Looks like it's getting too close to the edge there. And because I'm doing a center, I know it's going to be fine. That's 1.1, so we'll just make that 1 inch. And then we need the circles in here to match up. Well, yeah, we've already got the circle in there. That should do it. We hit finish sketch. Going to come over here and extrude. I want that. And that will leave the opening part for the bolt to go through. Come over here. Grab that part as well. I'm going to look at it from that bottom corner. I want to extrude away. So I think that's the right distance, 0.125. We'll see. I may be in the middle of our other part or on the other side. We'll see if that's the right distance, and that's a new body. So that should be our tie rod. We'll turn our steering knuckles back on, and we'll come back up here to the main view. We'll see how we did. So our tie rod is right underneath. I did it in place, so let's go ahead and do the as-built joint. I want the tie rod and this to be revolute. And I want it to be right in the center. I want that bottom one. So I'm going to hit Control. So that's good. We'll say OK right there. I also want it to revolve around the other one. So we're going to do another as-built joint between this piece and this piece. And we want the origin. We're going to hold down Control or Command on your Mac and grab that bottom joint origin. Say OK. And then hopefully now, if I can zoom out, when I grab this tie rod, there you go. And that's the whole deal of the Ackerman steering, is that when you move one, the other one moves, and that they don't move exactly the same, but the inside wheel will move a little bit more. Okay, that worked out good. So we'll come in here, hit the letter A key. If the letter A key is not working for you, you can just click on your part. Come up to the appearance menu. We'll paint this thing. I don't think I've used yellow yet. Bodies and components, yellow. There we go. Okay, so that's our tie rod. So what do you need now? Need some wheels. Go ahead and revert position back to there. Wheels are going to be nice and easy, I hope. So we'll do a new component. We'll call it wheel. And I'm going to create a sketch right here on the end. I'm going to use this end face of my, what is that thing? Steering knuckle to make the wheel. Okay. So this should be easy. We'll make a another circle the same size, and then one. Our wheels, how big are our wheels? 26 inches in diameter? I think that's what they are these days. 26. So we'll go ahead and finish that sketch. Come back out here. We're going to extrude this. I think our wheels are usually about 4 inches thick. I may get into trouble. Yeah, if I go 4 inches thick, I'm going to hit into the leaf spring. And so, for my example, we'll just make our lives easy and just go 3 inches. But this is why we design things in CAD, to make sure that the length of this steering knuckle is long enough to make sure that these leaf springs don't interfere with the wheel. We design in all of the geometry. Let me go ahead and come up here to Ackerman steering. And so that, oops, so this is not connected to the wheel. I'm about to revert position, come back here, and we'll do this joint. I want this as-built joint, this wheel, and that steering knuckle, revolute, and I want the joint origin right there in the middle. So that should be spinning. It's hard to tell because it's just a gray cylinder. It's okay. But now that those are joined together, when I move, there we go. When I move the steering, we can see the interaction between the leaf spring and the wheel and the length of the steering knuckle. So these are all things that we want to look at in the design phase to make sure that this is all going to work together. Need a second wheel, so we'll go ahead and create a mirror. Where is it? There it is, mirror. I want the whole component. This wheel, my mirror plane right there. Make sure that looks good. We'll say OK. I'm going to come around here and do another as-built joint between this component and that component. And I want that revolute axis to be right there in the center. Okay. Let's go ahead and do some appearance on our wheel. If I right-click on this, appearance is different than physical material. You can use this to find out the mass and density and volume and center of gravity and everything. When I change the appearance, I'm really just changing the color of it, not really actually changing the material. So let's go other carbon fiber twill. Thank you very much. Okay, so we just made our wheels carbon fiber. Now we can see that pattern. We'll come over here, put it on the other wheel. If only making carbon fiber wheels was so easy. So now we should be able to see that we can spin this. It's a little bit hard to see. It's trying to spin. It's just hard with the graphics to get that appearance to rotate. But this will spin as well as go back and forth. Okay, so I think that's, well, let's put a C on there. I think that was the last thing I was going to put on. Yep, okay. So the seat, let's go ahead. How did I do the seat? I think I just did a, oh, we did a nice little sweep. Okay, we can do it again. So we need a sketch. We're going to take that, we'll do a little rectangle, we'll kind of sweep it along here, and then we'll kind of curve up for our seat. So I need a offset plane. And we'll pick from the this front face of the rover. We'll scoot back. 18 inches looks good. Looks like a fantastic place to start a seat. Sketch on that. Want to do it right on the top surface of this. So we're going to project that blue face right there, because that's the top of my frame. The leaf spring sits on top. I want that line in there. So we'll say okay. So now I've got all those lines. And I'm actually going to go ahead. I'm going to sketch at an angle. I hope that doesn't make your head explode too much. It's easier. I guess, here we go. I'll just turn off the leaf spring and the beams. There we go. Okay, and the back beam. So our seat's going to be a little rectangle. I'm going to do a construction line right here up from the center, just for reference. We'll do another center point rectangle. Put it right on here. Come out. How thick is the seat? We do my carbon fiber, so we'll say another 1/8 of an inch right there. And that's all construction lines, my bad. I'm gonna back out of that, turn off the construction line. We'll try that again. Center rectangle on there. We'll go 0.125, and we'll say the seat is 18 inches wide. We'll see if that looks okay. Oh, I shouldn't have finished that. Oh, I forgot to start a new component. How did you guys let me do that? Okay, so I'm gonna come in here, delete that whole sketch. It's terrible workflow. Okay, so I come over here, new component for our seat. Okay. So then we got our seat component. Same thing, we'll create a sketch on that front face. We're going to project in that geometry right there and say okay. We're going to turn off all of our beams and leaf springs. We're going to do a construction line So I've got this center axis as a reference. Turn off the construction line. We're going to do our center point rectangle. 0.125 thick. I'm going to tab and say 18 inches wide for our seat. And hit enter. And then I want this bottom surface to be coincident. I want that line. I guess I can just use that point. It should still stay in the center. Okay. So now I've got that nice rectangle. Oh, and I forgot to do the construction plane out here. That's okay. This will be a great teaching point of how to overcome Mr. Crypto's mistakes. I'm going to come over here. We could do another sketch. Yeah, I'll create a sketch just on this center plane. I'm going to do a line from the front of our seat. I'm not sure I've got the right rectangle. Okay. So I'm going to come from the bottom of our seat right here. I'm going to come back, we'll say 18 inches. I'm not sure the exact dimensions of the seat. Come back there 18 inches, then we'll come up. And this is all geometry that should be specified. We'll make that 18 inches again. We'll tab. There's some 120 degrees. There's some angle that's great for seats to make riders comfortable. So we've got that. I'm going to come in here. Usually I don't fill it on sketches, but since we're going to use this as a pathway, we're going to need to fill it between these two. 4.5 inches looks good to me. We'll hit enter. So I got this nice curvy, swoopy line. So we're going to finish that sketch. We'll come in here, we'll extrude that profile. Nope, not an extrude, so sorry. I want to come in here and do a sweep. This profile along that path we just made. And there's our nice, wonderful seat. We'll say OK. We'll come back up here to our main model. And then now this seat, I kind of designed in place, but I want to scoot it back some. So I'll revert. I'm going to do an as-built joint between, let me get my spots correct. With this front face, bottom of that front face, and the hit control top of that front face. I don't want revolute. I want rigid. I want the seat to go the other way, and I want to offset it back that way. And we'll offset it back, I don't know, 18 inches. That's what I've been using for everything else. We'll say okay. So there's my seat. So I need some kind of color for this. Oh, orange. Beautiful. Okay. So we'll come in here to my seat, right click, appearance. We will edit this and we'll come over here to some nice, lovely orange colors. Oh, I changed that to orange. Undo the appearance. So sorry. Open this up again. Oh, I got an orange. That's glossy red. I'm going to edit that. Yeah, that should be red. Old material cannot be removed. Okay, so we'll take the red. We'll put it on the steering knuckles. Red for steering knuckles, and I'll take the orange. We'll put it on the seat. There we go. Everybody's happy now. Fit it in there. Close out of that. Go back to our view. So once again, we're trying to work on joints, joining components, working on sweeps and lofts, those kind of things. But now you can see that when we do the Ackerman steering, that the inside wheel is going to turn a little bit more on a steeper radius than the outside wheel. Okay, and that's the whole point of the Ackerman steering. Okay, so this is the last part of the CAD project. When you finish this, you are done. If you have any questions, just email me. But thanks and have a great day.